Hello, art students. Today we're going to work on a portrait, and we're going to talk about the proportions that we see. And for this project, we will need a paper, a pencil, and chalk or some other art supply to do your coloring with. So we're going to start with drawing our head shape and then the different features, and we'll talk about where they fit onto the face. So I typically use an egg shape, or you can use an oval. And just need to be slow and careful to draw this in so that you're happy with it looking symmetrical and nice and even on both sides. Okay, when you feel good about that, then it's time to move on. We're going to put the eyes. This is the first proportion thing we're going to talk about. We're going to put the eyes right in the middle. Now, I actually folded my paper both ways to just kind of help remind myself where halfway is. People think eyes are up here, but they're not. They're halfway down the head, between the top and the chin. So we're going to do a lemon-shaped eyes. And then the eye inside, we just see most of it, but a little bit is tucking underneath the eyelid there. Okay, now I want to switch over to my Sharpie so you can see better what I'm doing. And you do not have to switch to Sharpie. You can do it all in pencil. And that's actually the preferable way to do it so that you can erase when you see a mistake or something you'd like to work on making a little bit better. Be sure you put your eyelids in because that helps it look more realistic. And then the eyebrows, I just use little dashes like that, and I form an arch like that, like a kind of a rainbow that's over the eye shape. Okay, now we're going to do, the next thing is going to be the nose. And the nose, we talked about eyes being halfway down. Now we're going to look at eyes to chin, and we're going to go halfway down from there. So here's where I'm starting, here's where I'm ending, and I'm going to look, and halfway is right about there. I'm going to look right in the middle, and I'm going to start with a roundy shape, and then nostrils, and C and backwards C, and then going right into mouth. That's halfway between the nose and the chin. So I like to start in the middle. Now, I didn't tell you yet, but you can choose to do a boy or a girl, and you can choose to have it look like yourself or someone in your family, or you can just make it up to be any person you want. Okay, now our ears, they usually start about where the eyes are and end about at the bottom of the nose. And we only see a little bit. And I put that little curve in there. So I'm going to start over on the other side and do a similar thing, similar shape. Now on your papers that I put in your lesson, I gave you several different ideas of different faces and different hairdos for boys and girls. And so you can pick whichever one you want or invent one yourself. Okay, I am going to, I'm having it be a boy. I'm gonna just have some swirls come down here. Try to make interesting lines. And I'm going to make the hair puff out a little bit. Be slightly wavy. And come to like halfway down where the ear is. And I'm going to erase where that skull was, because we're not using that skull line anymore. Always a good idea to keep up on your erasing. I like to do it as I'm going, so I don't have a lot to do at the end. Okay, we're getting near the end. I'm going to start with the chin line here right underneath, so I can try really hard to get it nice and even. And I curve the paper because it's much easier to draw if I curve it. And in this portrait, I'm not going to even do clothes. I'm just going to have the neck. If you have a head coming up higher, then you might want to include clothes depending on how much of your neck shows. But I'm going to do it just like that. Okay, then you pick your eye color, whatever you'd like. I think I'll pick blue on this one. I'm using my chalk, as I think I mentioned that I'm going to use chalk. Yes, I'm sure I did. And I'm going to leave a little white section for a little white, little sparkle that the light's hitting. And if you don't have chalk, use marker or crayon or whatever you have. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of purple in there. That really helps it blend nicely if you have two colors. And just to clean it up a little bit, I'm gonna take my eraser, make sure I've got my white sparkle showing. All right, now next I'm going to do my skin color. You can use dark brown or light brown, or even orange works really well for skin color. And since the lips are darker than the rest of the skin, I'm just going to go right over for the first, at first. And do a nice layer. I'm going to not go over the eyes, the whites of the eyes. But I am going to go over the ears. Now I just got a little bit of blue in there. So before I make a bigger mess, I'm going to clean that up. I'm going to check my chalk to see, oh, I'm not seeing any blue, so I think I'm okay. You just don't want to, when you see a mess, try to figure out what's making the mess and solve the problem. Now, if you want to take on a little bit of a challenge, you could put in some shading. So a nice, easy way to think about what could be shaded would be the sides of the face. underneath the mouth, underneath the nose, the sides of the nose, the neck, and underneath the eyebrows. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, now as far as the lips, I would not use red. You could use orange and brown mix. That's what I'm going to use. It's a little bit darker, but it's not as dark as red. Not for a child. And if it's too orange, just lay some of that skin color on top of it. And that will tone it down a little bit. Now, as far as the hair is kind of fun and easy. You just draw out like strings, because it actually is made up of lines that look like strings. So I'm going to do a few different colors. I'm going to start with some yellow in there, and I'm going to layer a number of colors. Real hair does have several colors in it, so I think it looks fun to layer quite a few colors in there. And when I'm thinking about it, I try to lay it in just like I did my black lines and kind of follow that set of lines. If you have really dark hair, really dark black, I would still add in brown to it. All right, then I'm going to pick a background. I'm going to pick green. I'm going to hold down here because if I put my hand on here, I'm going to make a big old mess. So it's just so fast. One of the funnest things about chalk is how fast it is. And there you go. So here's the first one that I did. Here's the second one. And I hope you have a great time making your portrait and using your proportions. Bye-bye.